Hi everybody! Today I'm going to teach you how to use Unreal Engine and the plugin Twiworks to create an interactive new follower event for your stream. This is a feature Twiworks doesn't natively support, so I'll show you how to get around that so you can make a fun event like this. Nice! This tutorial is for people already somewhat familiar with Twiworks. If you're completely new to the plugin, I have another one that goes over installation and how it works. You won't need to watch the whole thing to catch up. We're going to pick up from after you connect to Twitch in your level blueprint. It'll be around this time code. So feel free to hop off there and come on back. Alright, once you've connected to Twitch, we're going to have to go off-road a bit because follower events aren't built into Twiworks. We're going to make ourselves a chatbot to create a follower alert and set up Twiworks to listen for that. The chatbot will also give us the username of the follower so we can customize an animation with their name and make them feel special. First, head over to your connected Twitch node. There's going to be two red pins on the left, on message and on cheer. First, drag off the on cheer pin and create a custom event. We're not making a cheer event, but Unreal will complain if there's nothing to find here, so give baby what he wants. Next, we'll do the same thing for the on message pin. Create a custom event and name it on message. Make sure you create the event by dragging off of here. That'll add a Twitch message pin, which we're going to need. Give the event some space. Drag off the execution pin and create a sequence node. Then drag off of that Twitch message pin and plop a reroute node underneath that. This on message event is going to trigger every time someone types a message into chat, and we're going to check if something about it should get a reaction. We're only going to do one check in this tutorial, but if you ever want to create more, add a pin to this sequence and build off of there. For now, drag off of that reroute pin and search for a break Twitch message node. Then drag off the sequence pin and search for a branch node. Plop it somewhere above the break node. We're going to get info about the message and make it a condition for this branch in the next section. Alright, now we're going to need to leave Unreal behind for a minute and create a chatbot. Twiworks has no way to recognize if someone just followed you, so we're going to borrow that functionality from the bot. I'm going to show you how to do this with Streamlabs, but these steps should be pretty similar on other platforms. Use your browser to log into your Streamlabs account, head to the left, find CloudBot and click on that. Double check that this toggle at the top is enabled. Sometimes it just seems to turn off randomly, so that's fun. Head to the Modules tab, find Chat Alerts, make sure that's also toggled on, and click the Preferences button. Then click on Follow, and again, make sure it's enabled. This is going to show you the message your bot sends you when you get a new follower. It's going to say something like, "Thank you for following, username." That username brackets thing is a variable that's going to get replaced with whoever followed you. You can customize this to say whatever you want, just make sure it has username in it somewhere. You also want to have some kind of marker appear in the username or have it be the last word in the message. This is going to make it easier to write code to grab the username without other stuff getting caught in it. I have a happy little cat face here, but this will also work without a happy little cat face. Alright, now that we're done with the chatbot, let's hop back into Unreal. Go into your level blueprint and head over to the break Twitch message node you made earlier. We're going to check the incoming message for two things: whether the author was a chatbot, and if the message matches what your chatbot says when you get a follower. For that first one, drag off the author pin and search for a break Twitch message author node. Then create an equals node. Use the one under string since that's what the username is going to be stored as. Go ahead and use the case-insensitive one. And type the name of your chatbot into the bottom box, in my case Streamlabs. Streamlabs calls it a CloudBot, but its default name is Streamlabs, which is kind of confusing. Double check what's under the name tab in your browser if you're not sure. One thing I'll note about the break Twitch message author node is that it stores a bunch of other info about the author besides their name. If you hit this drop down, it'll show you stuff like if they're a subscriber, if they're a mod, and on and on and on. You get it, it's great. We just need the name here, but those are more tools on your belt for other events you might want to make. Alright, now that we know it's a chatbot, we want to check what it's saying. Drag off of the message body pin. This is the text in the message, and we're going to use a contains node to search through it. In the substring box, put in part of what the chatbot says when you get a follower alert. The contains node returns true if it finds that string anywhere in the message, so it doesn't have to be in the beginning or anything, just whatever works for you. Now that we have the author and the message we're looking for, we want both of those things to be true to make our follower event start. Do that with an AND Boolean node. Plug the contains node into one of the pins and the name of the chatbot into the other. The order doesn't matter. Finally, drag off the AND node and make it the condition of that branch node we made like 200 years ago. When this is true, your follower event is going to start. If we want to use the username of the follower to customize the event, then we're going to need to extract that from the chatbot message next. To do that, we're going to use two string split nodes, put them next to each other, go back to the break Twitch message node and connect the message body pin to the source string pin of the first split node. Make sure it's also still connected to that contains node from earlier. Then connect the right side pin of the first split node to the source string pin of the second one. So what we're doing here is isolating the username and we're going to store it somewhere. This left split node will delete whatever text was before the username, and the right one is going to delete what's after it. In my example, I put "thank you for following" space in the left one, and in the right I put space and that happy little cat face. Make sure you include the spaces or they're going to get dragged along with the name when we store it. Now that that's all done, right-click on the left side pin of the second split node and promote it to a variable. This is what's going to be left over after deleting all that garbage, which will be your new follower's username, so you can finally use it for stuff. Execute this set node from the true pin of the branch node from earlier. Now, this is kind of a hard thing to test since you can't exactly control when someone follows you or not. One thing you can try is to make a dummy account and unfollow yourself, but that just doesn't work if you keep using it sometimes. If you use Streamlabs, there's an easier way to do that. In your mini feed, you can find when someone followed you and hit this little repeat icon. Your chatbot will do that alert message again so you can keep testing it. So now you get all the pieces you need. You can use them to do whatever you want, but I'll show you an example that puts a thank you message into a text render component and how to customize it with a username. My character is a witch, so I have this animation of a summoning circle with a message in the middle. It's an actor with a Niagara effect and a text render component, and the Twitworks command starts an animation sequence to scale it up and down. I used an asset pack off of the marketplace called Magic Circle Creator to save time. It looks cool and lets you customize a bunch of stuff, so check that out if you're interested. Also, since it's a circle, I don't have a lot of room for long usernames, so I made a function that adds line breaks to make it fit. I'll go over that in the extra credits section since your layout might not need it. First, create an actor. Name it something like BP Follower Alert. Double-click on that and add a text render component. In the Details panel, go down to the Text section and enter a default message. This is going to get replaced by Twitworks, but this is what's going to show up in your editor so you can use it to plan the layout and the placement and stuff. You can add line breaks by holding Shift and hitting Return in the text box. You can pick things like the font, the material, size, whether it casts a shadow, and on and on and on. You get it, it's great. I also have this magic circle animation from that asset pack. Go ahead and compile that, save it, and go back to your level editor. Put it wherever you want it to pop up in your scene when the event happens. Keep it selected and go to your level blueprint where you're doing all your Twitworks stuff, and head back to where you're setting that follower username variable. Create a reference to your actor, drag off the pin and search for a set text node, and execute that next. Create an append node, the one under strings. Use this to build whatever text you want to show up in your alert. In my case, in the A box, I put "thanks for following" and a space. And then I drag the username into the B box. If you want to add more parts to the sentence, you can hit the Add Pin button. The order of the sentence will start from A to whatever. You can add line breaks by holding Shift and hitting Return since strings keep track of those. Strings have a bunch of other functions you might also want to browse through. You can convert other data types into strings, replace text, capitalize, whatever you can think of. Once you built the string that you want, connect the return value to the value pin on the set text node. It'll convert the string into text since that's the data type it uses. Next, we want to hide the alert actor until it's needed. Go to your event begin play and create another reference to your actor. Drag off of that and search for a set actor hidden in-game node. I also have some lighting effects that go along with this event, so I initialize them to be off in the beginning too. We also want to stop the event from interrupting itself, so go back to the branch node that checks the message in the beginning and add a second branch in front of it. Create another actor reference and actor hidden in node. Check if that's true. If it is, hook it up to the other branch. Mosey on forward to the set text node, create yet another actor reference, and set a actor hidden in game node. Set this one to be false, that'll unhide it. If you want to play a sound or add some lights here, you can execute other stuff around this spot too. Drag off of that and search for a add timeline. Reconnect it from play to play from start. Double click on that. hit the plus track button and add a float track. Make a curve that goes between 0 and 1 and then back to 0 again. We're going to use this to scale your actor up to its full size, which is 1, and then scale them back down to 0 to make it disappear. Moving the keyframe to the right will extend the amount of time that this animation lasts, and the shape of this curve controls how one size eases into another. Go back to your event graph and change the name of the timeline node to whatever makes sense for you. Create another reference to your actor and search for a Set Actor Scale 3D node. Connect the update pin from the timeline into that. This will change the scale each frame based on the float track that you made. That track you made is going to have a pin here. Drag off of that and search for a lerp vector node. This is going to connect the track to this alpha pin here. In the boxes next to the A pin, have the XYZ boxes set to 0. In the B boxes, set the XYZ boxes to whatever the max scale of your actor should be at the peak of its animation. You can play around with this to get the effect that you want. Take the return value and connect it to the New Scale 3D pin of the Set Actor Scale 3D node. Now, what the heck is all this doing? The lerp node here goes between your minimum and maximum size of your actor, and the alpha pin is getting fed the number from your timeline. So it's basically turning the dial from 0 to 100% of its size over time and updating the actor's size each frame. The timeline node has a finish pin, which will make it move on to something else once the animation is finished. So drag off that and set the actor to hidden now that it's done. I also turn the lights back to normal here. One important note worth repeating. On your timeline node, make sure you're using the play from start pin, not just play. If this event gets called again, you want it to circle back to the beginning first. And if you use the play pin, it's going to get stuck at the end the first time and nothing's going to happen the next time it's called to play. That confused me a lot at first, so don't bang your head against the wall like I did. Or do, I'm not your dad. Alright, let's take it for a test drive. Nice. Except not, because the text is too dang long. If your setup has a similar problem, I'll teach you how to make a text wrap function. So let's go in there and fit all that text into that there circle. Go back to your level blueprint and head on over to where you got the username from the chatbot. Go to the My Blueprint panel and create a function, and then name it username wrap. Add 2 inputs, make the first a string and call it username, then make the second one an integer and call it character limit. Make the output a string and call it username split. When you've done all that, drag your new function onto the event graph. Connect the follow event username into the username pin of this function and then execute it. What we want this to do is take the username, check if it's over a certain number of characters, and if it is, split it into 2 lines and spit it back out. Enter a character limit that makes sense for your layout. In my case, it was 10. Connect the username split pin into the B pin of the append node. Connect it all up to the set text node like before. Then double-click on your username wrap function so we can tell it what to do. Make some room, drag off the username pin and search for a length node. Drag off that and create a lesser than or equal node. Plug the character limit input into the bottom pin, and then execute a branch and plug that in as a condition. Create a local variable, make it a string, and call it built string. Drag off the true pin of the branch and set it to the username input. Connect that to the return node. Build string is the final result that this function will spit out. If it ends up being under the character limit, we don't need to do anything to it and can just pass it along. Let's copy the return and set nodes, hook them up, and plug the false pin into it. This is going to be the string after adding a line break when we need it. Go back to the length node to get how long our username is. Drag off that and search for a subtraction node. Plug the character limit input into the bottom. We're going to figure out how far over the limit it went. Drag off the username input and create a left chop node. Plug the subtraction pin into the count. Drag off the username input again and search for a split node. Connect left chop to the in string pin. Drag off the return value again and create an append node. Add a pin to this so that you have ABC. In B, add a line break by holding shift and return, then plug the right side pin of the split node into C. This is going to chop off the extra characters, add a line break, and add that remainder to that second line. plug that into the build string variable that's set from false on our branch. Now I know that code looked like a lot of spaghetti while I was writing it, so here's a screenshot of a more organized version of it for you to look at. Now this whole thing can only add one line break, but that's plenty for me. If you need to add more, this function would need to have another branch and I don't feel like it. Twitch usernames have a 25 character limit, so it's fine. So let's take another pass at this. Nice. I hope that helped you out. If you come up with some cool ways to thank your followers, let me know in the comments. I'm always looking to learn new stuff. Or tell me my code is garbage, because that drives engagement too. If you want to do either of those things live, I work on other Unreal Engine stuff on my Twitch stream, as well as art and game things. So if that sounds fun, come hang. Alright, bye.